Hey everybody, welcome to Everyday Journey. Today we're going to make a chip knife. That's for wood carvers, carving by hand, to do some intricate work. They call it chip carving because you're carving out little chips. I'm going to make my own. I saw on the internet somebody was actually able to make one out of a nail. This right here is a masonry nail, or a hardened nail to go into masonry. I'm going to go ahead and use this. I pulled it out of something a while back, and I think it'll work. So we're going to try it. Alright, for those who don't know what one looks like, this is it. It's nothing special. It's a flat nail. You can see right there. It's flat, so it's narrow on one side and a little wider on the other, and it kind of goes in a somewhat triangular taper down to the end, and most of the time they're pretty much flat on the end. They're, like I said, they're hardened. So in order to first start working this, this one's a little bit rusted, so I'm actually going to take some of the rust off of it, just sand it off real quick, and then we need to actually soften it, because I need the blade to be a little wider than what this is. So let's see how we do it. Alright, so I'm going to use my Dremel tool here just to try to remove this rust on it real quick. It's also got a, looks like a bluing agent or something like that on the outside of it too. This is my roughest sanding wheel that I have here. And all I'm trying to do is just get the rust off real quick. Alright, there we go. That's good enough for me. I just want to try to get some of it off of there so it wasn't getting pounded down into this while I flatten it out some. Alright, next step is just go ahead and take a wire brush real quick to my vise here. Just try to get the surface rust off of it again, so I'm not pounding that into it. Alright, I think that's good enough. Use a little bit of WD-40. Just wipe it down real quick. I think we got a clean enough spot right there in the middle. We'll just try to do most of the forming right here in the center. So, since I don't have any appropriate tools, we're going to use a hammer. First things first though, this nail is still hardened. Before forming it, I actually want to soften it a little bit. So we're going to heat it up. So to heat this thing up, we're going to use a torch. I don't know if you can see, but I've kind of got a dull red right now. It's starting to turn a little bit orange. Flip it over, make sure I got the other side too. And this is the first time I've ever done this, so we'll see what kind of results we get. That should, I hope anyway, be hot enough to kind of break it down a little bit and allow it to be formed by being a little bit softer. So now we're going to go for the side that I'm going to use as a handle and drop it in the floor. I can already tell that that side's a lot harder. We probably need to heat it up a little bit because it's actually putting indentions in the vise itself. It wouldn't be interesting if the camera didn't die at least once. As you can see though, didn't mention it before, I've got safety glasses on. Protect your eyes, guys, girls, whoever's watching. Just, you want to keep your eyes. So being a little bit thinner, it's heating up a little bit quicker. You can already see the color changing a little. So let's try that and see if it makes any difference. It was much softer, but it cools down really quick. Tell you what, anybody out there that knows what they're doing, I mean, don't kill me with the comments, because I know I'm not a professional here, but definitely let me know maybe what I could do better. So practice makes perfect, and with a lot of good advice, I'm sure I can do a lot better. So definitely send me a comment or two. So at this point, this wider end here is going to be where my knife blade is going to be. So I'm going to actually just flatten out or taper the one side and leave a ridge on the other side so that it's thicker on the back, or at least attempt it anyway. Next step, let's turn this off. My next step is actually going to be shaping it. Alright, so there's my general shape. We've got a somewhat thicker backside to it right here, and a thinner front side to it. It's a little bit curved at the moment. I think I might try to straighten that out. But in general, what I'm looking for is for a shape to be kind of rounded, like so, down to a flat front face. And it's somewhat flat, but we'll definitely have to work on that. This all here will probably have to be taken off, and then I think it'll work. Alright, to remove the excess on here, we're actually going to use one of the cutting bits, cutting discs. So we'll take the sander off of here, and we'll probably use that again. Put the cutting disc on, the cutting wheel, and we'll trim out the general shape of it. Now we're going to put it in the vise, and we're actually just going to do some filing. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to clean up this outside edge here, basically deburring it, and then we're trying to thin down this profile here for the actual cutting edge. So put this in here, and we'll break out the files. Alright, so I'm not really sure if you can see this very well, but it's definitely, well, it's obviously pitted. You can see the face of the knife is doesn't look to have any pits in it, so I think we're going to be good for that. But it's starting to take shape. You can see it's a little bit thicker on the back there. It's getting thinner in the front. Definitely not going to be able to get that as thin as I want it yet, because it's still soft metal. So I'm going to keep filing at it and try to hone that down a little bit better. Once we get it close, or really close, then we'll start really working on the rest. Alright, so today's a new day. Sit there last night messing around with this. See if you can see here the finish we're getting here. Now granted, this is not perfect by any means whatsoever, but it's getting the angles that we're looking for, or at least close to it. And I was using different things. The edge, the very cutting edge here, I was kind of getting frustrated with it because I wasn't able to get it honed down very quickly. So at one point in time I actually used this little, what is this? Samurai Pro. Works great on the kitchen knives, keeping them sharp. It worked great on this actually. It put a pretty sharp edge, but it was only on that front edge. I was really hoping to get this more of a chisel, so that it had a face that went all the way down on both sides to the point. Working with this, I'd end up not getting that, but I do have it to where it will be pretty sharp. It was actually pretty sharp then. Different things I was using though was this diamond block, going from the coarsest to the finest, using these diamond sharpeners here, and basically got it down to where it's at now. Not happy with the finish of it, but as far as sharpness, it's there. It's almost there. Granted, we can't make it too sharp because we still need to harden this. And since I'm dealing with such a small blade, we don't need a lot. The only part we're going to actually harden is the actual blade of it, because the other part not really required. Actually, I almost prefer it to be softer, so when we drill through it, it won't be too bad. I have no idea how this is going to work. Again, this is my first time doing this, so I think that's good. Let's go ahead and quench it. Well, that was kind of uneventful. I was expecting something a little worse than that. But as long as it did what it's supposed to do, we should be okay. Turn off our heat now. And let's clean this off. Alright, so right here, this is one face of it. The other side, you can see it here. I mean, that looks pretty good too. Of course, it's all blackened now, so we'll go ahead and clean this up, and then we'll put it into the oven. You can see here, it's still nice and straight. That's what I was looking for. Nice and straight. Doesn't look to have warped any. We need to check it and see if it's actually hardened though. So we take our file, and you'll notice the difference if you were using a file before. But the file just kind of seems to rub right over the edge. It doesn't really seem to be biting into the metal. So that's how we know that it's actually gotten hardened. So let's go ahead and clean it up, and then temper it. I'm going to keep on removing the rest of this scale off of it, and then go ahead and throw it in the oven for, what I say, about 400 degrees for about an hour, and then I'll quench it in some water, and that should be good at that point. So at that point we'll just need to clean it up more, and then make sure we get our final sharpen on it. So we'll go ahead and do that. Alright guys, here we go, right out of the oven. This thing is of course cooled down a little bit, but you can see it's nicely tempered. It's got a golden hue there, and it looks a little rough, but all that should, or most good majority of that should polish out. And I kind of like the imperfections and stuff. That to me makes it look more handmade. But it looks like it's probably going to sharpen up nicely. Well, there you go. I think it's turning out pretty good. Our next steps we have are actually making a handle for it, which that should go pretty easily. So I think I'll make that for the next video. If you guys got any questions, concerns, telling me how I might do it better, definitely send me a message. Love to see that. Just leave a little comment down here. And of course I try to read all of them, and I try to respond to them if it's something I see needs to be responded to. But it seemed like it's simple enough. You guys should be able to do it yourself, I would think. I did it pretty easily. So anyway, we'll get the next video out there making a handle for this thing, and move on to make some other things. So you guys take care.